अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः, भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः, स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः वशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः, स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः, स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः, स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So as I mentioned in my WhatsApp message, I'd like to do a guided meditation on Karika number 5 of the Agama Prakaranam, the first Prakaranam that we are still doing. And then we will continue on with a little bit of Karika number 6 and go on to Karika number 7. So just a few words about Vedantic meditation. So we know this, that the what is called the meditation in the teaching of Vedanta is called Nididhyasanam. So we've gone through all of that. We've gone through a lot of verses to explain what Nididhyasanam is. And we know, generally speaking, that out of the 3 stages of understanding, starting with Shravanam, which means listening, Mananam, which is deliberations on the listening, and Nididhyasanam, which means things that are pretty clear to us, but because of pure habit, we go against it. So that is the classical definition of Nididhyasanam. However, let's take another look at the what's called Vedantic meditation before we do it today, just in a few minutes. So none of these definitions and explanations should be taken purely the way it is done. They are all part of a process, and there's no clear boundaries. You say, okay, from January through May 31st, we're doing Shravanam. And then from June 1 through September 30th, we're going to do Mananam. And then in October, November, December, we're going to do Nididhyasanam. It isn't like that. In fact, I wanted to make a special point because there was something that I read in going over Swami Akhandananda's explanation of the 4 Brahma Sutras. Beautiful 3-volume book, just very, very deep, very clear, very advanced. Just cuts straight to the chase. There's a lot to go through. We'll do that sometime. In reading that text, he made an observation which was very striking to me. And I thought I would bring that up before we do the meditation today. Okay. So there was a talk between Swami Akhandananda and another Um, I don't know whether he was a Swami or a very advanced Pandit. It's not clear from the names given. But there was a conversation a number of years back when even Swami Akhandananda had not reached the level of understanding, perhaps, in my view. I don't know. He himself says that many times, that my life has been where it doesn't just immediately come to me, but I have to keep studying. And it's very comforting to me personally also. And then finally it begins to dawn on me. And so he was talking about those phases. So in one of those conversations, there was a Pandit that asked him, he said, Swamiji, I'll do that in Hindi first, and then I'll translate that in English. आपने वेदांत पढ़ा है? Have you studied Vedanta? Aapne means you. Vedant, in Hindi, Vedanta is called Vedant. The in the end in Hindi is elided. Aapne Vedant padha hai? This is his question. So, because he was talking about, I know the context, he was explaining Bhagavatam, and Bhagavatam has both the Krishna Leela as well as Vedanta in it. So he was talking about Krishna Leela and so on. So the other person also felt that there were glimpses of Vedanta being talked about. So he asked him regarding that. He says, Aapne Vedanta padha hai? Swami Akhandananda replies to him. Again, I'll say that in Hindi first, then in English. Padha ya na padha to mujhe malum nahi, par suna hai. What he said was, I'm not sure I can tell you whether I have studied or not studied, but I have listened to it. And this was very revealing. Honestly, all of a sudden I saw that this just makes a lot of sense to me. So what it mean? And then the other person, to complete that story, clapped and said, not clapped literally, but he says, wow, that is the right answer. What a great answer. So he seconded the beautiful answer to the first, have you studied Vedanta? Similarly, this should be understood, maybe accepted, maybe not understood yet. If you're not ready to understand it, accept it for the time being. Vedanta cannot be studied. It cannot be studied. It has to be listened to by a live person. There's where the effect is. It's funny how our minds work. We look at books and say, oh, Taittiriya Upanishad, it says this, and then Kathopanishad, and so on and so forth. All that looks kind of like, I wouldn't call it gibberish, but bookish. And once in a while you can get some flashes of understanding from it. Nothing like listening. Nothing like listening. And this is where spending time with a recognized Mahatma, face to face, asking questions and so on, is imperative, not recommended. It's necessary. And what I find is, interestingly enough, that I am getting a lot out of studying Vedanta in the language of Swami Akhandananda. So one can ask, isn't that a violation of what you just said? How can you get so much by studying? It's different. And I think it has two elements to that, which I'd like to present before you. One is that I have listened and studied enough. Enough. Lots of. Maybe not enough, but lots of it. In a very dedicated way. I gave up my other portions of my life to really listen to Swami Dayananji and to study with him. Study also, along with listening, is okay, but just pure study without listening to some Mahatma is not effective. It prepares you, but doesn't take you to where you want to be. It's not convincing. The whole thing is something that has to be convincing to our minds. It's not the question of the teacher. It's the question of the efficacy and the effectiveness of the student. What do you have to do? What does a student have to do? So, for one thing, I have really studied and listened a lot. Secondly, I must admit, this I am doing it. It took me a while to really recognize this. Studying Swami Akhandananda's books in my own mother tongue made a ton of difference. I can't even believe how much difference it has made. And there's a reason for it. We think in our own original language, especially if the language is rich with the nuances of what the topic is. If you study some strange foreign language which has never even heard of Vedanta, nothing is going to happen because it's not conversant with Vedanta. But all the vernacular languages in India are offshoots of Sanskrit, and number one. Number two, they are mother tongues which do something very interesting. And I'll tell you what it does for me. I really struggled a lot in the studying of English, of Sanskrit. I think I've gotten quite good. I can parse language, words and so on. But for the longest time, my efforts in understanding were divided between the understanding of the language and the content of the language. And it's very distracting. Very distracting. But when I started reading Swami Akhandananda, first Swami Maheshanandaji's book, but I think much more so than Swami Akhandananda's book, I had nothing to worry about the language. It was like my thoughts are with them. And I was completely involved in the concepts itself. That made a ton of difference. Now, I'm giving you a lot of background, but here is the relevance with respect to today's meditation. This is what I thought I would talk about. So what I said was that classically speaking, Vedantic meditation means things that you've already known and habitually you don't accept it. That's not the only definition of Vedantic meditation. Then what is it? I personally think that if done right, Vedantic meditation is the best way of Shravanam. Not Mananam, not Nididhyasanam, but Shravanam. And how? Because you are listening to a person live in words. You're listening. You're not studying. You're not parsing words. And you will see a little sample of that in today's meditation. So, don't you believe that your Shravanam is done? Now we are just doing Mananam and Nididhyasana. And the reason those two phases may not be as effective as you would like it to be is because you may not realize it, your Shravanam is incomplete. And number one. Number two, some ways of listening in a meditation can be very effective. Because, it's interesting. I can visualize it. I don't know for a fact that when you're watching these videos, you may be time sharing. You may have a kind of a laptop on emails and so on. And you're quite dedicated to listening to me. I'm not saying that you are playing hooky or anything like that. But once in a while, you'll glance to see what else is going on. Okay, I think I get it. It's not listening. In meditation, you won't do that. Your eyes will be closed, I hope. And your ears are tuned to what I'm saying. And your mind is listening. You really listen to our minds, not through the ears. So the meditation is not just Nididhyasanam, it is also Shravana. Particularly, I would say, pardon me, particularly I would say that the Shravanam might have done as a Paroksha Jnana, but not as an Aparoksha Jnana. So you know the difference between them, but let me re-emphasize. Paroksha Jnana means that it's Jnanam, all right. It is knowledge. But it is knowledge in a indirect way. Like you say, in fact, let me just do this. Let me have you just at least understand. You have already done this, but this is just a revision. This is what would be called Paroksha Jnana. So look at the verse number, Karika number 5. Trishu dhamasu yad bhojyam bhokta yascha prakirtitaha Veda etat ubayam yastu saha bhunjano na lipyate. What it is saying? What it's saying is, in the three places means that the three places we cycle our day through, in waking, dreaming, and sleep. Trishu dhamasu. In all three states, if I am aware that I am the bhokta and the bhojyam, I am the enjoyer and the enjoyed, both of them, then I am not affected by them. See, this is jnanam, this is knowledge. They are talking about the knowledge. This is not some random kind of a thing which has no relevance to the mainstream. It is the mainstream, is what we're talking about. But the effect of that in our minds is, yes, so there are three states, and the one that understands both of them, and then he or she is not affected by it. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I may not be able to see it, but I can see it. Now, congratulations if you can see it. That's wonderful. But has it made any difference? it may not have because it is called Paroksha Jnana. It is very much like somebody describing a cruise to you. Oh, we just had some friends who came back from cruise. Oh, what a beautiful thing it was. We went here, then we did there, then, oh, there were some lovely places that we went to. Ship was excellent, food was good, company, this, that, or the other. Some of our friends went to Tahiti, that's what they were describing. And they gave a pretty good picture. Tahiti, Bora Bora. I don't have the experience of Tahiti, just from the words. So this is called Aparoksha Jnana. You don't get Aparoksha Jnanam by studying. You get mostly Paroksha Jnanam with maybe some glimpses of Aparoksha Jnanam, but that's it. Not steady, not clear, not definitive, not lasting. But if the same verse were to be presented as Aparoksha Jnanam, then chances are that I see it differently. So this is what we are going to do. Okay, so let us do a meditation on this verse. Trishu dhamasu yat bhojyam bhokta yaschak prakirtitaha veda etadubhayam yastu saha bhunjano na lipyate. Alright, so let's do a meditation on this. Let me turn off some of the lights. Perhaps the small fan, it's kind of warm in here, but it's giving some background hum, so I'm going to take that off also. Okay, I'll be right back. Om Namaste Astu Bhagavan Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya Triambakaya Tripurantakaya Trikalagnikalaya Kalagnirudraya Neelakantaya Mrityunjayaya Sarveshwaraya Sadashivaya Shriman Mahadevaya Namaha. I ask you, do you know yourself as an individual? And the answer is, for most part, yes. I may not know all the details about my individuality. I may not know things happening inside my body. I may not know how healthy my body is until it can be tested. But I know a lot about myself. I know the state of my physical body, how old I am. I know my mind, my memory, my ethnicity, my gender, a lot. I know what I do know, and I know some things I don't know. So I have a full picture about myself. In summary, I know myself as an individual. I also know what I like, what I don't like, what gives me pleasure, what things I try to avoid. I know my knowledge. Of subjects. I know quite a bit about myself. I know. Next, do you know the world around you? For all practical purposes, yes. I am blessed that I have all 5 of my sense organs working. My mind is working, and with that combination, I know a lot about the world around me. I know my house. I know whether my mortgage is paid or not. Am I renting it? I know that. I know if I have a car. I know Uber. I have a laptop. I have television. I know the grocery store. I know what I need to buy from time to time. I know my town. I know where it is. I know a lot about it. I may not know everything about the world, but for most part, as it is for myself, I know the world. When we switch over to a dream state every day, all of us do, we cannot avoid it. That's part and parcel of the creation. Does this fundamental knowledge of what I am as an individual and what the world around me is change? Does it fundamentally change? No, I cannot say that. There are distinct differences. Things suddenly appear without going through the necessary time for me to grow, for my children to be born, my parents perhaps passing away. All those take time. Predictability to a large extent. That is not there in the dream. I suddenly find myself as myself, interacting with a world that I don't know where it came from. So my degree of knowledge about myself as a dreamer and in the world around me as a dream, that degree of knowledge may not be as clear, but fundamentally I find the same pattern. There is me, a me with a form, me with a personality, me with emotions, knowledge, with likes and dislikes, with pleasurable moments and painful moments, with apprehension, with relief, the unpredictability of others that I have to deal with. So from all those cases, the two states of my experience are fairly similar. They can be summarized, even though there are differences between them, as we indicated. One is predictable, very clear, more comprehensive, and the other one is sudden, but unpredictable. But fundamentally, both of my experiences involve my knowing myself as an experiencer and knowing myself as an experiencer of outside and inside things. I'm even the experiencer of my own pleasure and pain. I'm the experiencer of the outside causes, perhaps of obstruction, surprises. Those two categories, which are common to both of them, are called bhokta and bhojyam. Bhokta, the experiencer, and bhojyam, the experienced. I see commonality between them. And in the third state, which is deep sleep, both the expression of the individual as a bhokta and the expression of the world as a bhojyam are kept in an unmanifest seed form. They are not destroyed. I don't have to start all over again. but they are unmanifest. They lose their distinction. They lose their differences. The bhokta and the bhojyam merge together as though. And I know that state. In the other two states of my experience, I know the distinct bhokta and bhojyam. And in the deep sleep state, I also know the bhokta and bhojyam have become unmanifest. And I know that. I'm aware of it. It's both logically true and experientially true. They both spring up from the seed, from the previous manifested state. Nothing is lost. I know these three states that I see. I see the play of my life. I see the play where I play the bhokta and I am experiencing the bhojyam. I know that. I know both of the states, the bhokta and the bhojyam. And it's fundamentally the same in the dream state. And it's fundamentally the same in the deep sleep state, even though the distinctions have been unmanifest. I should see this phenomena very clearly. I am the light that shows both the bhokta and the bhojyam. I go back to the very first question I asked you. Do you know yourself as an individual? Then the answer was, of course. I am lighting up myself as a bhokta. fully aware of what's happening to me. I am pretty aware of the things around me. I am lighting both of them up without any distinction. I cannot light myself up as a bhokta unless there is a bhojyam, and vice versa. I cannot light up the bhojyam, the experienced, without an experiencer. Don't you see that they go in pairs? And I'm purely the light that lights both of them up. One pair in my waking experience, a similar pair in the dreams experience, and the disappearance of both the pairs merge together in the deep sleep state. But my light remains constant. My light is not tired. It does not grow old. And the best part is, my light doesn't need anything. It stays as is, without any dependencies. That's me, my light. Me as the light, not my light. Me as the light. Chit Swarupa. I'm also the Adhisthana. I am the screen, unmoving, on which all these pairs of opposites play. Sat Swarupa. The only thing is that the Sat, the screen, and Chit, the light, are one and the same. They are not separate from each other as in a movie screen. This is a fact. The message of Vedanta is very simple, very easy to see if one sees it. I see myself as an individual with all its changes, very aware of everything that is happening to me. I can only do that if I remain fixed and observe the changes in my body and mind. If myself as the light and the screen also changes, there must be someone else that can see that change. You cannot see a change without an observer. I don't need to change. I am the same observer. All I need to do is to correct the awful mistake that I do of just taking myself as one side of the duality, just me as a limited person. I need to see the mistake, the stupidity of doing that. The fact of the matter is, I am the observer of this huge tamasha, this huge play which is going on right in front of me. Both the bhokta and the bhojyam dance in front of me in various forms. If I know that, I am not affected by it. Trishu dhamasu yat bhojyam bhokta yas prakirtita etat veda etat ubhayam yastu saha bhunjano na lipyate. A person who sees the entire show, not just a portion of it, see the constancy of it. It's a movie that keeps changing, and I am the light that lights up this movie. I'm the screen on which all the movements take place. If I see this clearly, how can I be affected? I can't. This is clear listening. This is aparoksha jnanam. This is not bookish knowledge. This is me. I pray and seek the blessings of Paramatma, Ishvara, that I see this more and more clearly as I listen. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let's go on with the Karikas, next Karika. We have already done number 6, but let me just quickly revise it. Prabhavaha sarvabhavanam satamiti vinishchayaha sarvam janayati pranaha cheto amshun prithak purusha prithak. So here there's one thing that is worth noting. We've done quite a bit on this verse also, so it's not something new. But there's one thing that one should focus on and clearly understand, and that is, and this is why I think I mentioned that in the Mandukya Upanishad mantras, the Mandukya mantra number 5 and number 6, there are 2 mantras defining prajna, which is in this verse also called pranaha. Same word, 2 words, same thing used. So prajna, which is the essence of the sleep state. Essence meaning that it is the content of deep sleep. What do we mean by that, the content of the deep sleep? It means this is where the seed for our emergence into the 2 other states is kept. Is the seed. This is very, very significant. I remember it wasn't until I read Swami Khandananda's book, we re-emphasized this, and all of a sudden it became very clear to me. What he said was that in the 6th mantra, so in the 5th mantra, it simply defines prajna. Remember? Yatra supto na kanchana kamam kaya kamaya kamayate na kanchana swapna pashyati tat sushuptam, etc., etc. Then Anandamayaha hi Ananda Bhukcheto Mukhaha Pragyaha Tritiya Padaha. Right? We did all that. This is the third step, which is called Pragya. Then, having described it as in the previous mantras, he could have gone on to now, number 7. But he doesn't. He has another one, which is very significant, and this is where it really made a big difference to me when I understood it. He says, this is Mandukya Upanishad. This is not Karika, the Mandukya Upanishad itself, number 6. Eshaha. Eshaha means pragya. Esha is a pronoun, means this. This means what I have just described in the previous verse, which is pragyaha iti tritiya pada. So that pragyaha sarveshwaraha. Eshaha sarvakyaha. Eshoho antaryami. Eshaha yonihi sarvasya prabhavav apyayau hi bhutana. We've done this, but I just want to revise this one thing. Sarveshwaraha is an important adjunct to pragya. Means just like a seed has all the ingredients in it. It knows exactly how the tree will turn out to be. I was telling you about this huge oak tree. Huge oak tree that I have. I should show you a picture of that. Dying. One time it was just a little seed. You couldn't even see anything. But it's all there. So similarly, it is Sarveshwara means that it knows everything. Sarveshwara, Sarva, what is it? All the ones we just did. Sarveshwara, Sarvagya. Sarveshwara means that it has all the ingredients. It has all what is required to fully develop what's inside the seed. And it knows the knowledge of how to do it. Sarvagyaha. Sarvasya yonihi. Similarly, in our deep sleep, it is not just like, it's very much same understanding that I had some mistake about Akasha. I thought it is just a simple space with nothing in it. No. It has all of the ingredients of everything inside of it, including, your strong and weak forces, and the ability to transmit electromagnetic waves, everything has a lot, but invisible. Similarly here also, the seed form is the one that exactly contains all the information and the ability to express itself. Just having the knowledge is not enough. So this is why it is said that that Ishvara, which is the same as in the Pragya, and Ishvara is both the Nimitta Upadana Karana. It has the material cause, it has the material to express, and the knowledge to express. Both of them it has. Now, are you ready to listen to this? This is the amazing part. Do you know where this Ishvara is? Do you know where that seed form is? We talk about Ishvara, who is the Sarvagyaha, who is Sarveshwaraha, who is the the material cause of the whole universe. The material, he's the knowledge of the whole universe, and so on. You know where that is? It's the pragya. It is the pragya. It is you. You have the potential. You have the potential to express this enormous play. This is what happens. This will come in number 7. So I think we did that, number 6. So let me bring one word out of the number 7. Vibhutim prasavam tu anye manyante shrishti chintikaha. So we will do this later. This creation of the creation theory, we'll postpone it until we resume these classes. But I can bring the word vibhutim, which is explained in great detail by Swami Akhandananda also. In this verse, Prabhava Sarvabhav on number 6. So what it means is vibhutim means the glory, the power, the amazing ability. What glory, what amazing power, what are we talking about? How do you create a dream out of nothing, my dear? You have the ability to do that. From the same seed, pragya, and the seed is really Parameshwara. So Parameshwara working through you and I explodes in a dream-like thing. We should see this. This is a fact. This is a aparoksha jnanam. It's not bookish knowledge. When I dissolve myself in the middle of the night, in deep sleep, there is no world, no nothing, no display, no manifestation. But it hasn't disappeared. It's in the seed form. It has all of the power. Vibhuti. It's called Vibhuti. And then in the Jagrat Avastha, it is the same power which is contained in the seed, but that power in the seed also contains not only the vasanas and leftover ideas from this life, but also from all of our previous lives. A very powerful seed. I was mentioning it to you, that really speaking, to say that my mom and dad brought me in is inaccurate. I brought myself in. I have the ability to go back into a seed form for a long period of time after death. And there I make plans of what do I do next. And so all those ingredients are provided for me because I have very powerful vasanas. So it's Ishvara working through me, whatever I want to do. And so even the Jagrat Avastha is nothing but an expression of this pragya. Pragya is the Ishvara, Sarvagya, Yoni. Beautiful, very important verse. I didn't understand that previously, but only after listening and reading the details and putting it all together, it's dawning on me. So this is what would be called Ekajivavada. It's not as though Ishvara is importing things and is working through me as an Antaryami. Very clearly says Antaryami. Ante tishthan yamayati iti Antaryami. It is my own seed. It's my own expression. And then I delude myself because, as we saw in the meditation, I have this whole drama. And then through ignorance and through stupidity, I take sides. I am really aparichinna, unlimited. But I become parichinna, very limited. And my life as a limited being is as a samsari, as a jiva. Totally miss the whole point. Not true. This is where the confusion and the mistake is. And once I see this, it's a mistake. There's nothing else that is necessary. So this is Shankara Bhashya. This is Shankara Vedanta. This is the pure Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. This is the Sampradaya. Not anything else. Even Vishishta Advaita, Ramanuja, says, yeah, you have to, it's pretty good, you have to do this, but then after that you have to do some upasana. No. Once you know it, you know it. It's just that we don't clearly know it, that's all. And what do we need to do to clearly know it? Shravanam Kurya. We have to listen to it again and again. Nothing else needs to be done. Anyway, that's kind of like a brief revisit of the Karika number 5 and 6 and 7. And then we will resume the onward journey of 7, 8 and 9 before we come to the main verse of the Upanishad, number 7. The Antaf Pragyana Bahish Pragyana Ubayav Pragyana. So that is what would be called a positive identification. So far, these are negative in identification. You are not this, you are not this, you are not that. Then what am I? That is directly indicated in mantra number 7, which will come after the Karikas number 7, 8 and 9, which we will continue. So that's the sequence for coming up. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. All right, good. Happy you could attend. So we will see you, I think, on the 30th, I think, Tuesday. All right, you saw my WhatsApp message. So we'll see you then.